Hey, welcome to the From the Shadows podcast. I'm your host, Shane Grove. And before we get started with this week's episode, I just want to remind everybody if you can't get enough of the From the Shadows podcast, and let's be honest, who can get enough of the From the Shadows? I mean, go to our website, fromtheshadowspodcast.com. There you can go find access to all of our social media, our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok, our X, or whatever. Go join in the fun, follow our pages, see what Nita, my social media uh, queen, puts up every day. She does a great job. But also, if you have a story you want to share with us, you can hit the contact button on the website. You can send me an email, share any story with me if you want to come on the show and share it. I'll get back to you. Or just give us a shout out, say, hey, I like the show. I appreciate those emails too. So go check all that stuff out. And if you want to get a hold of me personally, you can find me on Instagram at Shane Grove Author, or you can send me a message on Facebook and I will get back to you. So with that being said, this week's guest is coming to us from what seems to be a hotbed of Dogman sightings from the Lone Star State, and I'm really sorry. I mean, we're recording this a couple days after my Ohio State Buckeyes beat the Texas Longhorns. Now this will come out way. This is going to come out. This is going to come out way a couple.
Not too badly, though.
Well, we won't
That game
talk.
could have went either way.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I hope Arch Manning has recovered from his. I hope the humble pie that got served. But I got to be honest. I don't think Arch Manning is the guy beating the drum on his own behalf. He seems like a pretty humble dude. So hopefully Texas does recover from that, and maybe Ohio State and Texas will get to play on down the road. Now, by the time this comes out, Ohio State could have lost 3 games by
That's
now
true.
and be falling out of time. Okay. All right. So anyway, off that tangent, joining me is Shawn from Texas, the purveyor of the Lonestar Cryptid Research page on Facebook. We'll give you guys an opportunity at the end of the show to find out how to go check out his page and the rest of the stuff on it. But Shawn, welcome to the From the Shadows podcast.
Thanks for having me.
No, so I mentioned Nita, our social media queen, and I can't even in the course of a day keep track of the comments and stuff that is across all of her social media. She pointed out to me that you had made a comment about a recent guest of ours, Chris Berry, who had a Dogman video and stuff. And so I had to reach out to you because you indicated you had had some Dogman experiences. And of course, I'm a sucker for a Dogman sighting. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your background, and then how you got into what you guys are out there searching for now.
Well, I mean, a little bit about me. I'm originally from West Virginia. Grew up in West Virginia, joined the military, got stationed out here in Texas. I was in the infantry unit at Fort Hood. Did about 8 years, couple deployments, things like that over in Iraq. Come back, worked as a paramedic in fire and EMS for the last 13 years here in the city of San Antonio, and now work as a subcontractor for the Department of Defense, helping out military reservists. And as far as getting into this, I've always been a bit of a fanboy towards Bigfoot since I was a kid, since the PG film, but just only started recently finding out about this Dogman in the last 2 years, and ever since then, now I can't get my mind off of it. And after having a few encounters now, it's like I keep just wanting to push and push and push more to get that perfect visual encounter. So,
and I didn't know all your background until you just said it, but you sound like the kind of guy who should be out there looking for, like, you have the infantry in combat, paramedic, like you, nothing is going to scare, nothing out there in the woods should ruffle your feathers, so to speak. You should.
You say that, but until you see something that your mind can't comprehend, that's kind of a different story.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. So okay. So I know a little bit about your Bigfoot stuff. I mean, I know I've seen the pictures of the footprint that you found, which is pretty amazing in and of itself to see that. But what attracted you about Bigfoot that then is, but Dogman is different, that now you're full go Dogman?
Well, I guess it's the fact that, you know, all right, so my mind, I've always had an open mind. So I feel like anything of a creature like Bigfoot, considering, the description, something like that can't exist. We all know that gorillas, apes are very intelligent creatures. If they want to stay away from us, they want to stay away from us. There's a lot of people out there that don't believe that these creatures are real. For one, they don't get out there and look. And for two, they just can't wrap their mind around that there are creatures that are still being discovered to this day
Hmm.
that are getting added to the encyclopedia of creatures that do exist. But Dogman was kind of through Bigfoot Society is where I started hearing a lot about that when Jeremiah was asking about, like these German Shepherd head type creatures or creatures that have like the head of a hyena, the body of a man. And I started getting really interested. I was like, wait a second. I only thought really Bigfoot was out there. And so I got to the point where I started doing a little bit more research and going down that rabbit hole with Dogman. And then I had watched a documentary on Prime called The Dogman Triangle of Texas by Small Town Monsters. And of course, Aaron Deese here in San Antonio did all the research on that and interviewed a lot of the people in that video. Well, come to find out, it, as it would so happen, I ended up accidentally meeting Nick, who was in that documentary on Facebook by accident. We became really good friends, and he kept telling me, he's like, "Hey, I was in that documentary." I'm like, "Yeah." So he offered me to start going out because he had had a lot of sightings out in his area, about an hour west of San Antonio. So we went out the first time we went out together. I did not expect to really see anything, but for the whole night, I was fearful that I might see something that my mind wouldn't be able to comprehend. And I was right. We went to several places, checked out a couple areas, and then when we went to the Lake Medina spillway, that's where we had our encounter with this creature. And I got to see pretty much an outline of its head and everything. I could see the straight up ears. The eye shine is what captivated me the most because growing up in the woods of West Virginia, I've never known any animal to have self illuminating eye shine and not eyes that spread apart at that color. I've never seen anything like it. It was like they were on fire, like a green, orangish fire. And the way it moved was so smooth. It was like a ghost. And it watched us. It was like it was stalking us, but from a distance. And, Nick managed to get some video of the eye shine. We captured a little bit of the eye shine off the water. He didn't have a really good camera, but the thing watches for at least 45 minutes until we had to leave because it's like a 2-lane small bridge, but barely 2 cars can fit on it. So you have to be careful. And at like 3 o'clock in the morning, there are some traffic going through there, but not a lot. And so we have to keep an eye out for traffic and we have to move the vehicle in case, someone's coming through there. Well, this thing watched us for a good 45 minutes. While it looked like we saw some eye shine to our left in the woods and some to our right in the woods. So we assumed that we were both being flanked by 2 others while one was capturing our attention. One of the things I was told not to do that I did do, but I wasn't told till after, is I pulled my gun on the one that was in the middle. I had my Glock 27 in my pocket and I pulled it out of the holster and I started to point it at the creature and I was actually going to take a shot at it. And I'm kind of glad I didn't because I was shaking so bad. All the hairs on the back of my neck were standing up, and I just did not know what to think about it. And what's weird is when I did point my gun at it, it's like almost like it knew what I had in my hand. So it started backing further away from us and trying to hide itself in the tree line. And right about that time, we had a car coming. So Nick's like, we got to go. We got to go. We're going to get hit. So we got in his truck and we took off. And I wanted to go back, but unfortunately, we didn't go back. We ended up going and checking out this guy who was having sightings in his backyard where his deer feeder was at. So we went to go check out his property at 4 o'clock in the morning. So we started working up like pinpoints of sightings in the area and all that. And we tried to figure out like their method of travel. And there is a pretty straightforward method of travel through there with a waterway and from some of the sighting areas that we've had. We went and checked out, there's a little recreational picnic area that allegedly there was an attack there a few years ago. A couple was apparently having sex in their car at like 3 o'clock in the morning in that little spot. And this werewolf looking creature was like pecking on their window and growling at them. And they took out. But ever since then, it's weird. The county blocks off, they have that picnic area blocked off to where you can't drive up in there. And there's no reason for it to be blocked off. And it's the same way with Lake Medina, the spillway. I used to live in Waco. After I got out of the military, I went to college in Waco for a while. And I used to walk the dam at Lake Waco all the time. And it wasn't a secure dam. I haven't seen very many secure dams like this. For some odd reason, this area at Lake Medina, I'll have to send you the pictures, but the entire spillway area all the way up to the dam is chain link fence, like 8 foot tall chain link fence with Constantine wire running all over the top of it.
So they really don't want anybody in there.
No, there's
Or do, or do
there's
they
signs.
want to keep something in?
Yeah, there's signs posted that you can't trespass on that area, all the way around that area. And that's a very secluded area, but we've had a majority of our sightings in that area. So it's perfect because there's tons of water there. There's always a ton of deer traveling through there. They have a constant food source, constant water source, and it's people can't get back in there.
So I want to go back quick and ask about your first that first night you were out there. Like, so what was the distance then that this thing was keeping from you?
When we first saw it, when we got out of the truck, it was literally probably about 60, maybe 50 to 60 feet away first. It started making its distance between us. Once we got out of the vehicle, it started moving back. I'd say max distance when it finally got to the tree is probably about 75 yards.
Hmm. And from what you told me before, so its eye shine was so, or well, I shouldn't say eye shine, but its eyes, whatever, were so bright that it caught your attention while you were driving, right?
Yeah, I'd never seen anything like that. Like luckily he was driving nice and slow, and I just happened to be looking out both sides of the windows, and I happened to be looking as soon as we got onto the bridge. I looked to the left outside his driver's side window, and I'm like, I could see the eyes. And this is a 15-foot tall bridge, and yet I could see the eyes pretty, they weren't like higher than the actual side of the bridge, but you can see at the distance it was, you could see the eyes brighten up. And it was like, wait, that was so clear. It's like, wait a second, what the hell am I seeing here? So as soon as I saw it, I had to point out that he saw it, and we got out of the truck and just. I wished I got my phone out and took the video that he took. I may have gotten some better video, but I was so damn captivated by the eyes. I couldn't keep my eyes off of it. I was just sitting there watching every movement, and I'm like, I've never seen anything like this in the woods. Usually, like, you know, uh, a mountain lion or a bear or something like that, they usually they'll be right there for like maybe a few minutes. They decide what they want to do and then they take off.
Hmm.
Most mountain lions will try to avoid you for the most part, unless they're super hungry and aggressive. But this, we were there for 45 minutes watching this thing watch us. It's like it was studying us. And I and the weird thing is, I've heard stories of telepathy with them where they communicate like Bigfoot and stuff. I had nightmares for weeks. I still have them to this day. And this has been since January of this year that I had the sighting. I still have the nightmares. Like I will wake up, like for the first week after that, I kept seeing these visions in my nightmares. It was like I was seeing myself standing on the bridge that night. It was like I was inside the creature's body and
Hmm.
able to see myself standing there. And I haven't been able to shake that since. I still have those nightmares every once in a while. And then I've had Nick said he's had like something scratching on his patio glass door windows at 3 o'clock in the morning at his place. And then I've had a couple things. I live an hour away, and I live in the city of San Antonio, like right in the med center. And I I could have swore I saw some kind of a shadow of something that was taller than my fence, my privacy fence, which is 6.5 foot tall, in my backyard at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was letting my dogs in. And they got like really weird and ran in the house. So I've heard stories that these things can follow you home no matter where you live. But I've had some weird experiences since then. And it's not just after that encounter. I mean, I've had already 5 different encounters, two non-visual encounters and two other visuals.
Hmm.
The non-visual was by myself, and I wouldn't even get out of my vehicle. But I got out one night to take a leak and quickly got back in because I kept hearing something rustling in the woods near me. And then all of a sudden, about 10 minutes after that, I smelled this really strong, musky, thick urine type smell. And it was blowing in from the direction I heard something in the woods. It was almost like I may have got out of my vehicle, pissed on its territory, and it decided to mark its territory after me to let
Immediately.
me. Yeah. But I stayed in my vehicle and I didn't really see anything. I couldn't see anything with my thermal because the trees are so thick there. I couldn't catch anything. And I finally just decided to leave because the the feeling and the atmosphere around me that night was just so quiet and thick of horror as best I can explain it because I was so scared. Like I was like, all right, I need to get out of here because I don't know what this thing may think I'm doing or but I think that they've gotten so used to me and Nick now that they're starting to show themselves a little bit more. We just had a sighting 2 weekends ago with 3 that we think are possible juveniles. And we did find a den site with a bunch of animal bones, a kill site next to a bridge with a little small river. It's so thick with trees. Nick found it and we went in it and we found what looks like a huge nest. And I've got pictures and video of that too. I'll send you. But we found what looks like a single nest in the front part of it. Like it's like for a watcher, like one single one to watch that area because that's the more visual area. And then it goes back down like this overhang cave and back into some thicker area. And Nick said he swore he saw a head with ears looking at us while we were in there from back in there. But we found all these animal bones spread out all over the place, like something had been munching down on different small animals and stuff like that. And then we found a couple prints that looked like Dogman prints, but they were small. They weren't very big. They were probably, I'd say, about 12 inches, maybe, compared to some of the others I've seen. Um,
That's still pretty
we
big. I mean, it's still pretty big.
Yeah, we do think that there's at least two or three packs of them running around the area that live in different areas. But this site, we've been studying this site for quite a bit, and we're having a lot of activity there. And Nick has flew his drone over there 2 weekends ago and caught some eye shine looking up at the drone from inside there. We couldn't see it from the outside until it started looking at us through like some clearing holes in the trees. And then I noticed in the one middle hole that we saw, there was a set of eye shine there, and I saw some eye shine that was down on the ground in another little spot next to the kind of the walkway or the doorway to that den. And then there was another set of eye shine to the left of the middle hole. It was like three of them were staring at us. And we sit there and we played with the drone with them, and their eye shine was following the drone. And every time he tried to fly the drone down close to them, they would disappear where we couldn't see them. Then when he flew it out, then they would make their presence known again. It's like they were just tinkering with us. And my dog, I took one of my dogs out with us that night. She was going nuts. She had such anxiety, and whatever's over there, she was trying to kind of get at, but back up away from. And then I ended up putting her back in my Jeep. And we got some pictures. I don't know how clear they are, but Nick's got some stuff on his drone that he hasn't sent me yet because he's on vacation in Florida right now. So, but yeah, we've had some. We had a guy come out and report to us one time that he was driving down Private Road 37 next to Government Canyon State Park, and him and his son and his nephew were driving together, and they saw like this huge wolf-looking creature walking down the side of the road. It was on all fours, and its back was literally as high as the top of their car.
Holy moly.
He
That's
said he and this guy he does wood carving. So he told Nick he wood carved exactly what he saw that night, because once he saw it on all fours, it was like it wasn't very interested in him, but it did stand up on two legs, and he said he couldn't even see the head because all he could see was like the middle section of it in his side window. And at that point, he said he hightailed it out of there and took off. But it was like it was looking for something on the side of the road. It gave them a little bit of attention, but it was more worried about something that was on the side of the road.
so it definitely so so it sounds like what you guys are running into out there is definitely 100% physical there. It's like it's not a spiritual, it's not a paranormal type of experience. You're experiencing something physical and tangible that you guys can smell and see. And, you're seeing the bones, you're seeing where something is obviously eating out by a bridge underneath and sleeping and is there at night. And I mean, short of it being people, like what on earth would do that lives in Texas in that area, you
Well,
know?
Nick was at that den site by himself about 3 weeks ago, the week prior to me going out with him, and he said he went out there, he took the drone out, he got eye shine, he had his little dog with him. She was going nuts, so he put her in the vehicle, and he said it smelled so bad in that area. It smelled like rotten sewage, and he was like, he's like, I don't trust this being by myself. He's like, you're not out here to watch my back. He's like, I'm out of here. And he said he went back the next day, and then it didn't smell like that the next day there. So I'm trying to get my buddy Rod, who runs Bear County Bigfoot, to go out and take a look at the
Hmm.
den site with me just to see what his opinion is. But it's been hard to link up with him and get him out there to take a look at because he says he's found some nests on the south side of San Antonio and some tree
Hmm.
structures.
Yes.
So
I've talked to Rod. I've talked to him. He, yes, yes. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. He's out there looking in places where people aren't looking for sure. But I mean, is that the sense that you're getting though, that you're that you're being watched by an animal or what? I mean, what do you feel like you're encountering out there?
For some odd reason, I'm not feeling like I know I hear people talk about the stories of them being aggressive, but it seems like it's like they're all they do is watch us. Like we haven't had any aggression. We haven't had, been bluff charged or anything. It's like they make it known that they're there, but they don't do anything aggressive towards us. Nick has said that every sighting he's had out there, every encounter, every everything that he's taken from people that have seen them, said that they're pretty docile. So, but he keeps telling me too, the more I'm learning about these things, is that there's some dogmen that have red eye shine, and then the majority of them have like green to orangish, you know, yellowish type eye shine. But Nick said he used to work at NORAD in Colorado, and he's seen some things up there as a when he worked for the Department of Defense. But he's like, I do. He tells me all the time, and sometimes I want to say that I don't want to believe it, but anymore, the more I think about it, I don't know what our government dips into. I mean, I've heard a lot of stories. When I was in the military, I heard about the giant in Afghanistan, the Nephilim. And how some spec ops guys, some Green Berets, got taken out by a Nephilim, and then they ended up killing it, and it got you know classified and sent back, and no one's ever seen it since. So I have an open mind to stuff, but I do think, especially listening to some other podcasters like Jeff Dolney and some of he had a guy named Victor used to call in, said he used to be like part of a kill team for the government that would go and capture and kill these things.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
Um, but he mysteriously died under mysterious circumstances, and he had a book coming out with pictures, and he already had a deal done and everything, and the book was going to be published, and he had all kinds of pictures from when he was doing this stuff that were in that book, and now he mysteriously died, and his family won't publish the book. So I don't know. Like, I think these creatures have been around, and I think the government has caught some of them, like Bigfoot, and I think they've tried to manipulate DNA over the years. Maybe try to create some kind of a super soldier of some sort. I
Hmm.
mean, it didn't stop Hitler back in the World War
No.
II, because
Yeah.
he was into the occult, and he was trying to do the same thing.
Yeah. Yes, they were the Russians and I mean, they were trying to create super soldiers through, with the genes, with chimps and stuff. It's just, it's crazy. And I think, but I think you're right. I think that, number one, I don't think the government is not nearly as smart as what everybody thinks that it is. Obviously, obviously, but I do think they know some stuff. But I think they know just enough to make them dangerous, and they don't really understand a lot of what is going on out there. But I just there's just so many stories though where you hear a body alongside somebody hits a Bigfoot or somebody does something to. And I will say I've never heard anybody claim to have shot a dogman and put it down. Anything I've ever heard about a dogman that somebody took a shot at, the dogman brushed it off.
Well, there was a guy from Bandera out near where Nick lives. He commented. I've tried to reach this guy. He commented on Vic's page, Dogman Encounters, um, that he had a ranch out there, and he was out hunting one night, sitting in a blind, and two of them come running out of the woods, and he couldn't believe what he saw, and they got aggressive, and he shot one of them 5 times with a shotgun and put it down. So he claims. And he was so scared, the other one took off. He was so scared that he ran back to his house and stayed till daylight. and then he heard shots around right around the morning time out in the woods. So he went back out to see if he could find the body, because what he was going to do, he's going to take pictures of the body and take, like, he said he was going to cut off a leg as proof of what he saw. And by the time he got back, there was nothing there, just some blood, and the body was gone. So I don't know what to think about these creatures. I've sat here in the rabbit hole and thought about, in my eyes, being a Christian myself, I do believe that creatures that they've been created by God all the way back. I even spoke with Rod one time. We were talking about the religious aspect of it, and I had this. I was like, if you go back to Scripture, and one of the first accounts of it was King Nebuchadnezzar, who was cursed by God to live in the wilderness for 7 years as a wolf-like type creature.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked Rod, I was like, what do you think about the possibility of Nebuchadnezzar being the first original Dogman while he was cursed, and he ended up mating with human women or something like that during that time frame and created an all new hybrid creature, which is what we think is the Dogman. And yeah, he's like, that could be a possibility. You never know. Because we even went further back with Cain and Abel as far as Bigfoot, because when Cain killed Abel, Cain was cursed to roam the earth by himself and was not to be touched. Otherwise, so I'd have to go back and review that scripture. But it was like, what if Cain, his bloodline is Bigfoot? You know, who knows? It's an interesting theory. I mean, all we can do is theorize what these things are, where they came from, or are they the beasts that are talked about in Revelation that are supposed to come up from the earth during the end times that help kill a third of man on the planet? I don't know. It's an interesting. It's amazing how far your mind can go down a rabbit hole with different thoughts, theories, and everything else, and you don't know what's right. Any one of them could be right. Any one of them cannot be right. But it's fun to think about.
Well, I'm sure it certainly gives you a different perspective with the things you have seen and done. Okay. I mean, I'm sure you've seen plenty of quote unquote miracles and death and, you know, myriad of different things in between. And then to sit out there in the dark and know that there's something watching you that you don't have an answer for, it probably, is pretty, right there in your face. Like, well, what the heck? What the heck's going on here? How did I end up here at this
Yeah,
moment? And what
you're
am
sitting,
I seeing? And what am I seeing?
yeah, you're sitting there seeing something that you literally think, when you look at it, reminds you of American Werewolf in Paris, or I'm sorry, in London, or you think about Dog Soldiers, the movie,
Mm-hmm.
or Silver Bullet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I was telling Rod, I was like, all the government conspiracy stuff I've heard over the years from former and people I served with that went into different agencies and things like that, talk about certain things, it kind of makes you wonder,
Mm-hmm.
how much does the government know? What do they know? And, you know, are these, you know, we've known for years that the CIA has been in bed with Hollywood since MK Ultra and things like that, where you feel like there are certain movies that come out that are used to desensitize the public to think, oh, well, that's science fiction, when in truth, it's freaking reality.
Look, if you can't tell me that Close Encounters of the Third Kind was not did not have some help in shaping, and I mean Spielberg and those guys have great imaginations, but I mean some of that stuff is spot on to what we now kind of know and accept. The abductions and um, just the way the aliens look and I don't even know at that time if there had been that many um, eyewitness accounts of what aliens and stuff were supposed to look like,
Yeah.
the grays and stuff. So yeah, I definitely think I've been shown some documents and told about some documents that are supposedly government documents that confirm that sort of thing. And yeah, but I will tell you the whole Dogman thing, and it seems like what you guys are experiencing, and a lot of the recent guests on the show from the Texas area and Louisiana, what you guys are experiencing is way different than what the judge who started the podcast with me, experienced in his sighting when
Hmm.
back in the 80s. And we kind of really came out of that after discovering some books on the subject, and then talking to Linda Gottfried, who, the Beast of Bray Road, and
Yeah.
is the guy. Like, we were kind of like, this is more like a spiritual, almost paranormal thing, because what he saw looked like a Doberman pin, like Anubis, okay, from
Yeah.
Egyptian um, lore there, that the Egyptian god of Anubis. So it doesn't even match up with what you guys are seeing down there, which is actually seems like a more of a werewolf, like what we would have grown up thinking a werewolf was supposed to look like, you know. It's very strange, the difference in like what the judge experienced, what Linda Gottfried took as reports and investigated up in Wisconsin. It's very different than what is happening down where you guys are at, which I find kind of interesting.
Well, maybe, I mean, if you look at it this way, maybe certain ones are in certain regions, areas that there's kind of like, how you have different ethnicities of people, you have a different
Hmm.
ethnicity of a dog man. Like, I mean, what we saw, the best thing I could describe from the outline is it looked exactly like the damn werewolves and dog soldiers.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's, I mean, to me, and I love that movie. It's one of my favorite werewolf movies next to The Howling and Silver Bullet. But to sit there and see something like that with your own two eyes, and to try to comprehend that that's real, that it's exists, it makes you question so much, because it goes back to questioning what do these Hollywood people know? What does, you know, maybe, a Hollywood producer saw one in himself and he decided to write a movie about it, who knows, the, but
I definitely think early Hollywood, like Lon Chaney Hollywood, took their cue from the stories and the folklore from Europe, and some of those stories, and kind of ran with, um, the werewolf type legends that took place in Romania and France. There's a couple other places where there are some well documented uh,
yeah.
werewolf sight, and I think that kind of like was that impetus for the Lon Chaney turn it into a werewolf. Well, it's taken a great leap, different,
Yeah.
different, but I mean, um, the human mind, the creative human mind, is pretty impressive sometimes. I mean, every once in a while, I come up with something good. Um, Not often enough, but um, so I mean, because I'm not a huge conspiracy guy, but I do think that there have been instances where some stuff has been fed, to like you said, desensitize the masses uh, for what may be coming. You know.
Well, see that, I mean, I guess my best example of that could be the one thing I noticed during COVID. and Bill Gates was talking about nanomite technology and how he could be able to inject these nanomites into a vaccine that could literally control your blood pressure, your heart rate, and all that. And I'm sitting there thinking, what does this remind me of? And he's talking about messing with people's DNA. And I'm sitting there, it's like, what is it? This is making me think of a certain movie. And I go back and it hit hard is that G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra in 2009 came out, and Cobra Commander was using nanomite technology to code DNA to turn Zartan into the president of the United States. While they kidnapped the real president, Zartan morphed into the clone president.
Well, can I
So I'm
get
sitting there thinking, there's a little bit of something weird there.
Well, you know what? I wish they'd do that and get me a substitute for this Christmas on the mail route, so I don't have. They can kidnap me, send my substitute out there because I don't think Christmas is going to be very much fun on the mail route. But
That's hilarious.
but no, so what? So you guys are going to just keep going out trying to get really good evidence. Then I mean
Yeah, I mean,
that's the
we don't
goal.
stop. I mean, our goal is really to get the best evidence we can and present it to whoever we can. And, if I'd had a thermal that night, I probably would have got one of the best thermal images of one ever. And if I had my 5,000 lumen flashlight that I have now, we probably would have got a really good picture. But then again, you're still going to have the naysayers saying, well, that's CGI, that's AI, blah, blah, blah. It's not real. You're always going to have those. But at least in my eyes, I did what I could to present the best evidence I could. And it's still, I don't really honestly care about any notoriety off of it. I really just want to know what the heck these things are, what their purpose is. I just want to educate myself about them as much as I can and know as much as I can about them. But
well, because at the end of the day, if what you guys are witnessing out there is just some sort of giant wolf that will get up on 2 feet and it's not quote unquote what we call Dogman, that's still amazing. And it's still disturbing that nobody knows they exist out there or will admit they exist, you know? So
I
that
kind of wonder. I kind of wonder how many people have actually driven down the road and had a sighting, but want to attribute it to
a really
driving fatigue.
or a really big dog
Yeah.
or that they just, yeah, whatever. Maybe they thought they saw a bear or they thought they saw whatever. Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
it's like that couple that allegedly wrecked their car and they called what was it, Lone Star or whatever, whoever it is,
OnStar.
OnStar.
Yeah.
Apparently contacted them, said they nearly hit this big dog-looking animal until it stood up on two legs, and they ran off the road, and allegedly it recorded the dog animal coming back and growling at them and trying to get in the car at it. And have you heard that?
No, I've never heard that.
I've actually heard the recording of it. They have it all. It's on Google. If you just Google OnStar couple who saw Dogman or heard Dogman had a Dogman encounter, you'll be able to find it. And I found the recording and listened to it. I mean, I don't know what to think. I mean, it kind of sounded authentic, but who knows?
Jeez. Well, Shawn, I'm thankful that you left a comment and came on and shared what I just think is crazy that you guys are going out there and sitting, but somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it. But I want you to tell everybody where they can come, where they can find you guys at on social media, your page, and so they can check out like some of the evidence and stuff that you've been putting up there.
Yeah, my Facebook is Lonestar Cryptid Research, and then Nick's is Texas Hill Country Dogman, and he puts a lot of stuff on there. I haven't had the chance to update mine recently yet with a bunch of pictures, but I've got a whole bunch of stuff right now. I'm probably going to add this week, so when I get a little bit of time, because I just switched schedules for my job, so it's been a little bit more hectic getting used to this new schedule.
Well,
So,
by the time this comes up, you should have all that stuff. You should have all that stuff up. So we'll put links to those two Facebook pages so people can go check them out. And then if you're in Texas and you want these two guys to come out and follow up on a sighting that you got, get a hold of them
yeah.
because I think you guys are gonna guys. My money's on you guys coming up with something very good evidence wise. That's I've got the line. It's a better odds that you guys are going to do that than Texas is ever going to beat Ohio State. But that's
Well, I don't know. I mean, what's her face? What's her face that runs a podcast up there in Ohio? Dee's Dark Adventures. You ever seen her stuff?
no, I've never seen her.
Well, she's got a thermal of a dogman that followed her home and was climbing on her roof, and then she got one of the probably the most cleanest thermal of a
Really?
dogman outside her window I've ever seen. Whether it could be faked, I don't know, but it looked pretty darn authentic to me. And apparently, she's got a video of a 14-foot tall Bigfoot that with red eyes that was staring her down, and she was down on her knees trying to, ask it to let her by. She didn't mean it any harm. She seems to have a she seems to have some good material. Whether it's all real or whether she's faking, I don't know. But she has some pretty good material that I've noticed, and but she's just a little bit on the annoying side on her videos. She talks way too much, and you can't hear anything. So,
well, well, I'll go check that stuff out, and if it's worth linking, we'll put a link to it and let people go take a look and see. But Shawn, thanks so much for jumping on here and sharing your experiences. And I wish you and Nick lots of luck out there. And just be safe. Don't do anything crazy. I mean, and if you do something crazy, get it on film. Okay, get it on
our
film.
only crazy thing is that we're hoping to go to LBL at some point together.
Okay, yeah, I want to hear about that, but don't. I'm not coming down. All right, man. Thank you so much. Be safe out there.
All right, no problem. Thanks, Shane, for having me on. You have a great night.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.
God only knows what time